This is what I should do. I usually sit there. Willie sits there. So I can see them and they can see me. And people watching the video stream. It's part of a booth and hang out. Like do the Skype. It's a version of Skype. Okay, got that done. Just coming back to coaches. What's your favorite sport? Football is. You go a lot of Arkansas games? Did you go to a lot of Arkansas? Did you go a lot of Carolina games? You didn't throw things to punch, did you? You're one of the few. Let's go back to the championships. I see in the national semifinals in Orlando. They played. Oh, wait a minute. They're already playing. I think they're losing 2-0. It says really bad luck for women's soccer. Second goal was going wide, but deflected off Gamecocks. Not a good start. Not a good start. If I understand soccer correctly. Let's see if I can. They got a stat broadcast today. People have won. Yeah, there it is. Stanford 2-0. Halftime. God. Somewhere Steve Spurrier is smiling. Now he can make Philip Fulmer jokes again. How's my connection with you, Brian? Solid. Okay. Just remind everybody to be patient. I know you. I recognize you always. Sure. I see you. I'm so hating right into you. I just saw him last week. Yeah. For now, he's going to be moving to Chicago. He's going to be getting married in about a year. And his girlfriend, she's in law school at Vanderbilt. I've got a job waiting for her. She's from Chicago. I've got a job waiting for her. So she'll be looking back up there. So, hey, man. Who's this right here? Yeah. Good Lord. Yeah. Man, you guys have gotten old. Good to see you. I'm doing great. Doing great. Where are you? Good for you. That's great. That's great. Let's good to see you guys. Yeah, I will. Good luck. I'm gonna send Hayden a note right now. Yes, sir. Yeah, yeah. See y'all. My son with the Roots of Northeast. That's a couple of his former teammates. Yeah, he was on their team that he was young. He was on their JV, but was called up. But they played for the state championship 1 year. No, they got killed by Burns. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm afraid it could be a repeat. Hey, Brian, play for me the beginning of the Tennessee press conference. Beginning of that real quick.
Morning, I decided to make a change in leadership in our athletics department. The decision I feel that was in the best interest of our university. John Curry has been suspended, and Philip Fuller has agreed to step in as our athletic director.
Yes, that must be the university chancellor. Fuller. Report. Not related to Billy Morris, though. From Lake City. Hey, what's up? Huh? Well, I don't need anything, so I wasn't going to bother you. All I needed was a place to sit. I'm good. How you doing? Y'all have good. Yeah. Good attendance too, from what I can tell.
It's time for the final word in sports all across the state. You're listening to Sports Talk with your hosts, Bill Kornbluth, Will Pelagic, and the Professor Tom Hayes. You've been waiting all day, so join the show now by calling 800-956-7266.
Last year we were picked to be here, and we were here, and that was a different type of a challenge. This year we weren't picked to be here, but we're here, and so the credit goes to the players and our staff, and I'm just really thankful for a tremendous amount of hard work and effort, commitment, dedication, belief that our team has exemplified. Anybody wins 42 of the last 45 games is pretty outstanding. Obviously, Clemson's won the national championship a year ago and last couple of ACCs, and that was just done a wonderful job. So we're thankful for the opportunity and the challenge.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network on a Friday night, heading into a championship weekend. As we get rivalry weekend, this weekend is championship weekend for college football. Championship games all across the country, including over in Charlotte, Clemson, and Miami, with the ACC championship. You heard from Dabo Sweeney and Mark Rick. We'll hear more from the two head coaches. They had a press conference in Charlotte today, and we were there for that. We'll bring you some of that coming up. We are located tonight over at Benedict College. We're here for a championship weekend of champions for the high school football in South Carolina. South Carolina High School League Championships. We've got the two-way game going on right now. Abbeville and Amber Earhart. We're into the second half. We played the first half in about 40 minutes, believe it or not. Scoreless. And we're just getting away here in the second half. The 1A championship game will follow tonight. That's Baptist Hill against Lamar. Phil Kornblut here at Johnson Stadium at Benedict. Back at our studios in downtown Columbia, we have Will Pelagic, and we have the Professor Tom Hayes. And our phone number is 800-956-7266. If you'd like to join us tonight, 800-956-7266. We'll talk a lot about Clemson and Miami. How we think that was going to play out. We've got the football filibuster one more time for you. The governor and the attorney general coming your way tonight. Sports Talk. We'll also hear from Lee Sterling, our professional fix, coming your way as well. And the Gamecocks, the basketball team, the men came up short in a big way last night up in New York, losing to Temple. We'll hear from a couple of Gamecocks, Sonny Gravitt and Frank Book. The Gamecocks back in action tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock against UMass at the Colonial Life Arena. But, guys, I guess the other story is Tennessee. Well, two stories, Tennessee and Texas A&M/Florida State. A lot of activity on both of those fronts today. Philip Fulmer is back somewhere. Steve Spurrier is smiling, wishing a joke. And, of course, now Florida State's in the market now that Jimbo Fisher has departed for big money at Texas A&M.
It's odd to look at the Tennessee situation because we're starting to see some of the backroom deals that were made with regards to, the Haslam family, which, of course, is very well connected in Tennessee. Of course, Jimmy Haslam is the owner of the Cleveland Browns, basically saying that the Greg Schiano hire was one that they had in mind, and then once they saw the fan back up and all the backlash that happened, how basically it turned from that all the way to John Curry basically being undermined, and then this morning basically being fired by the chancellor. It's just such a weird situation. And then also later on today with Texas A&M basically announcing that they're going to hire Jimbo Fisher, and Fisher saying he's not going to coach in the game against Louisiana Monroe for Florida State. You see his Christmas tree out on the side of the road there in Tallahassee. He's going to get 10 years and $75 million. I mean, as the world turns in college football, it's the greatest soap opera right now.
Well, you got to love it. I mean, 10 years, $7.5 million, a contract probably was about $1 million higher than Nick Saban has.
It's about $1 million higher than what Corn is, because Corn wants a renegotiation now.
And now FSU, that, in my opinion, there's a plum job right now. If you're looking anywhere, you're not looking at Knoxville, Tennessee. You're looking at Tallahassee.
That's what I was trying to say, is that people might be waiting to see what happens with Jimbo Fisher, because now that becomes the most attractive job on the board, Corn.
Well, it looks like Willie Taggart's the guy first in line out there at Oregon. That seems to be the guy that they are eyeballing. We'll see if that comes to fruition. Let's go quickly to the presser today in Knoxville. We have a couple of minutes of that. Philip Fulmer, who, if you read the various tweets and reports, kind of led a palace coup there to get Curry booted from the job. And now Tennessee's trying to figure out a way that it doesn't have to pay Curry the millions of dollars that it owes him. They had a press conference today to announce that Fulmer was taking over As the Director of Athletics, the Chancellor is Beverly Davenport.
Morning, I decided to make a change in leadership in our athletics department. It's a decision I feel that was in the best interest of our university. John Curry has been suspended, and Philip Fulmer has agreed to step in as our athletic director. I want you to know John Curry has worked tirelessly in his position, and I greatly respect him for his commitment and his contributions to the University of Tennessee. Several weeks ago, I asked him to lead a search for our next football coach. He was given full authority to find the best coach for Tennessee. But we are here today to begin a new era and a new opportunity to move the University of Tennessee forward. I asked Philip if he would lead our department for the foreseeable future. And I asked him to take the reins of our search for football coach.
Our first job is to turn around our football program. Our football teams in recent years have struggled for a variety of reasons, but through it all, we have been supported by the most passionate fan base in the country. These great fans deserve teams that make them proud. It will not be easy, and it will take some time, but we will succeed. We first must find us a coach who wants to be at Tennessee, who appreciates the unique opportunity that we have to offer at this very special place at this historical time, and who is driven to win at the highest level of college football.
What was it that ultimately what was the tipping point made you decide a move had to be made, something had to be done?
And I appreciate that question. You know, as I said in my opening remarks, it's been a tough week for us. And it's been a series of events. There's not a single event. I think you all have read, you've reported, many of you have reported on it.
I haven't established a timetable to this point because this has all happened so fast. I think with the background that I've had here, as well as we've done at different times here, the facilities, the tradition, the leadership that we have here, I definitely think there will be people who will be interested.
Coach Fulmer, will you contact some of the recruits right now, and also would the door be open to you serving as interim head coach?
No, I will not serve as the interim head coach or the head coach. I've done my duty that way and enjoyed it very, very much. But right over there, I'll be coaching the Little League team some. You know, that'll be my coaching. But I will absolutely be touching base with any prospect that's interested or any prospect that we have committed.
All right, there you go. Phil Fulmer, the current athletic director at Tennessee. And you wonder, you know, a Tennessee guy now stepping in to run things, you wonder if in this particular situation that they look for somebody with Tennessee roots, Tennessee ties to bring in as the head coach. They need somebody who can rally the troops, who's not only, you know, good with fans, good with the contributors, but also a good football coach. I mean, David Cutcliffe comes to mind. Maybe this will be the opportunity for him to repay John Chavis for all his years of duty and make him the head coach.
It's all about trying to put a Band-Aid on the wound that John Curry opened and created by just the fiasco with Greg Schiano and how haphazardly the search was run. I'll probably get a search firm of some sort in there to at least try and stabilize things and just step back and take a beat, because right now, when you think about it, they need some sort of measured approach before trying to act hastily.
Philip Fulmer, he won the national championship in 1998 with who at quarterback?
T.
Martin, offensive coordinator, Southern California.
Okay, we'll be right back. More sports talk on this championship Friday nights in South Carolina. Let me go see if somebody scored. I think they did.
It's your time.
They stopped him.
I'm not a radio guy.
Yeah.
Although I do.
Yes, he does. The ratings go through the roof. He's doing David right now, in person. Are you going to be at the stadium tomorrow? Yeah, you will be. How's that? How's that? Better? Are you going to be at the stadium tomorrow? All day? I'm going to come for the first part of the first one. I got to go to USC basketball too. Will. I was up there today for the press conference. I've already warned Savannah about staying on the hot dogs in this morning. Yeah. You gonna be in the press box tomorrow? What's that, Ron? There you go. This guy will teach you. This guy will teach you how to write. Say what? Yeah, let's see where we at here. Where we at? Jim, yeah, we can do those two first, and then we'll come to David. What'd you tell him? You're just another name on the line. On the turnout. But him and Jimbo 7.5. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm surprised you haven't bought a suite here at the Charles Johnson Stadium. We'll show you that one right there. This is two-way. Yeah. Oh,
Sports
Mike
Talk
on the hangout?
is the sports talk show of Main Street, South Carolina.
Has been
From the
feeding
coast
back.
to the mountains, we cover it all.
Welcome back in, everybody. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network from Benedict College, site of the state championship games tonight. We've got the 2A game going on. Abbeville and Bamberg Earharts. I think it is still a scoreless game. 1A game to follow, Lamar and Baptist Hill. 3 games tomorrow. You can buy a $10 ticket tomorrow and see all the games at Williams-Brice Stadium. Probably the best ticket in sports in South Carolina in terms of entertainment and financial investment involved. Before we get to David Shelton, who was actually here with us, the other story, we were talking about Tennessee. Of course, the other story kind of broke while we were doing the press conferences in Charlotte today, and that was Jimbo Fisher being officially named the new head coach at Texas A&M. He's not going to coach tomorrow. He threw his Christmas tree out in front of his house, sort of a sign that he was moving on to College Station. So we did have a chance while in Charlotte to talk to both of the head coaches who, of course, are connected to Jimbo. Dabo, of course, has been playing him, and so has Mark Richt, and Mark Richt's in the same state. So here is Dabo Sweeney's response to the news that Jimbo Fisher would be leaving FSU for Texas A&M.
I mean, he's obviously feels like maybe it's the right move for him. I don't know, but I know that he did an unbelievable job at Florida State, and this is a business that's very public, as we all know, and from time to time, you have to make decisions, and sometimes those decisions become very public, and the public's going to weigh in with how they feel about it. And if that's what he chooses to do, I like Jimbo. It's been a great competitive journey. I've known him forever. When I was at Alabama and he was Auburn, and if that's what he's doing, then evidently he feels like that's the right move for him and his family, and the right time to do so. But Florida State's Florida State, and they'll hire a great coach. I don't have any doubt about that. And and I guess we'll see him next year if that's what he's going to do. We play Texas A&M for the next 2 years. I can't get rid of him. So still be a thorn in our side. But like I said, if that's accurate, I wish him nothing but the best, and I'm sure I'll touch base with him at some point.
All right, Dabo Swinney. Here's Mark Richt, the Miami coach, another rival of Florida State, on Jimbo's departure.
I have to ask you for your reaction to the news about Jimbo. Obviously, you guys went head-to-head and probably expected to coach against him for a while.
Yeah, I would have thought so. I did an event with the governor asked Coach McElwain and Coach Fisher and myself to come for a summit on had something to do with jobs, I think, in the state. I can't remember exactly what it was. You thought we'd be doing things like that for years to come, and just hadn't turned out that way. But I've been through it, so I know job changes can happen, and they happen for different reasons. And I'm not going to get in anybody's business, but certainly I know I've heard what's going on, but I haven't focused on it at all because I'm trying to get ready and try to get a first down or two.
All right, Mark Richt. So from following the various stories today regarding the vacancies out there, various quotes and things of that nature, Arkansas, when asked about the job, Gus Malzahn said today, quote, "This is the SEC championship. I'm the head coach of Auburn." Texas A&M, Mark Schlabach reported the contract is 10 years over $75 million, averaging $7.5 million. Second only to Saban's deal. Pete Thamel says Florida State's top two candidates are Willie Taggart and Justin Fuente.
Interesting.
With Taggart expected to be offered the job. Chris Lowe reported Philip Fulmer stepping in as the AD at Tennessee. The Vols to reset their coaching search and not rush into something. And VolQuest reported that Fulmer has a 2-year contract to serve as AD.
I've been told Korn named a lookout for in the Arkansas opening at the not only athletic director position. Tulsa's athletic director could be possibly in play there, but as far as a head coach goes, if they do not get offer from Malzahn or an offer to Malzahn, Todd Graham, the now fired head coach at Arizona State, apparently would be interested.
And interesting to that is Scott Frost may become bi-coastal again. Everybody talks about him doing such a great job at Central Florida. If they're after Taggart, then it opens the door for him to boomerang back to Oregon.
Unless, of course, Papa Tom comes back.
Yes.
Also, another note from Arkansas, the Razorbacks will pay Brett Bielema $11.8 million buyout for the final 3 years, not the $5.9 million his contract calls for. That's according to
a little settlement action.
And Philip Fulmer's appointment letter calls for an annual salary of $575,000. And Curry, the former AD, has been suspended with pay pending an investigation related to termination. And there you go. Just some of the notes floating around out there about these coaching jobs. Let's do our high school football report for tonight with David Shelton in the flesh. Brought to you by Farm Bureau Insurance. With new auto insurance rates from Farm Bureau, you could be saving a whole lot of money. Even if you received a quote before, rates are now more competitive than ever. Get a no-obligation quote today at favrates.com. They played that first half in 40 minutes.
Yeah, I watched it on Twitter, basically on my drive in, and I was like, wow.
You shouldn't be looking at Twitter while you're driving.
Oh, is that not good?
That's not good.
I guess it's supposed to wear a seatbelt too.
That's not healthy. Yes, you should be wearing a
Oh,
seatbelt.
God.
Both, I think, are considered illegal.
I'm glad I could run into my father tonight.
So you said you thought this would be a defensive struggle.
Yeah, it's been both teams have missed field goals now, and Abbeville's had the better of the field position, but haven't been able to capitalize. They got down there real close inside the 10, had a holding penalty. So, yeah, it's playing out like everybody thought. Two really good defenses. I tell you, I only got to see, 8 plays before I came over here, but man, Bamberg can run on defense. Whew, they can run. So it's gonna come down to a major mistake. Something bad's gonna happen.
Does either have a kicker who can make a field goal if he has to?
The Bamberg kicker is a pretty good kicker, and that was a short one, and he just missed it. But you know what, Phil? Kicking a field goal in Bamberg in September and kicking a field goal at Benedict in December are two different pressure situations. So high school kickers, whew,
college kickers, as we've seen.
Well, yeah, it's that kicker.
Yeah.
So the really good ones are the ones that make them this weekend.
What do you see tonight, game 2? It'll be the 1A game. You think we'll see some points between Lamar and Baptist Hill?
Yeah, I definitely think because Baptist Hill is going to throw the ball regardless of the score. So if they get behind, they're going to throw it. If they get ahead, they're going to throw it because they don't run it. Lamar has the advantage to where if they get ahead, they can start pounding on them a little bit. Physical up front. Baptist Hill has not played near the schedule that Lamar has. I don't know how much that matters in a game like this, but I kind of think it has some bearing as to the competition you play. And, 1A football down in Charlotte. They played Cross, which is a good 1A team. They beat them, and they beat St. John's. Both of them were close games. But Lamar played people like Central Pageland, and they played a 4. I think it was Crestwood, a 4A school.
I think they did.
Yeah, and beat them handily. So they we'll see. It's going to be fun.
All right, tomorrow we've got the 3 championship games: 3A, 4A, 5A. Beginning with the 5A, might as well start off with the biggest and the best. Dutch Fork. Well, maybe I don't know the best. South Point, Hartsville's going to be a great game. Dutch Fork and Dorman. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I think it'll be an entertaining game. I think might be two teams that maybe 2 months ago we didn't say these two teams would be there. I think what Dorman has done since they've started 0-2, and as Dave Gutshaw said, probably should have been 0-3. Really, Hillcrest made some mistakes in the kicking game to help. But I think tomorrow, I think that's going to be a heck of a game. I like Dutch Fork.
Give me your 3 winners tomorrow.
I got Dutch Fork, South Point, and who's the other one? Oh, I got Dillon beating Chapman. I'm about the only one in America. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you, sir.
Okay, man.
We appreciate it. We'll see you with the high school scoreboards tonight. We still have those.
Oh, great.
Don't get too far away. David Shelton, High School Sports Report, the very best in the business here on Sports Talk. We'll be right back. Back into Sports Talk, everybody, on a Friday night. We've come to the most important segment of the program every week. It's called the Football Filibuster here on Sports Talk with Governor Jim Hodges and Attorney General Alan Wilson. As we wrap up regular season / championship weekend, we'll come back during the bowl season with a bunch of bowl games to give the trailer a chance to come from behind here, and that would be General Wilson, 3-2 last week, picked up a game. He's 35-30. The Governor, Hodges, 2-3 last week, 39-26, his record at this point. So I think the Gamecocks, Governor Hodges, I think the Gamecocks did both of you guys in last week.
They did do us in, and Phil, I did want to tell you that I was offered the head coaching job at Tennessee today and did turn him down.
You did turn it down.
Like everybody else.
Okay. And you decided against that for what reason? Financial, other obligations, a lack of success in the future? What did you see there?
Because everybody else turned it down.
That's it, huh? So you're a follower, not a leader. I got you.
That's right.
General Wilson, sir, you picked up a game last week. You got to make a little bit more of a move here. You'll have a chance during the bowl season to make a big move, but you're still knocking on the door. You're only 4 games back.
Hey, listen, I consider that a win right there. Governor's pretty good at these things. So the fact that I'm still in the fourth quarter, even though I'm behind, is a good thing.
Yeah, he's a grizzled veteran. I got to ask you both. You know, your Gamecocks kind of let you down last weekend. General, what'd you think of the game and, the way things played out from the standpoint of your Gamecocks?
Listen, I expected them to lose, but I thought that they would, if they played the game they played against Georgia at Georgia, I figured they'd keep it, respectable, maybe within 10 or so points. But I'll tell you right now, my 9-year-old begged me to take him out at halftime. So we left at halftime and finished the game at the house. He just couldn't take it. He was so upset.
So you were in the line of early taillights leaving Williams-Brice Stadium.
Yeah, we were. But again, I had a 9-year-old at 9 o'clock at night having to go home, and if I didn't take him home at night, I'd be carrying him out at midnight.
Don't worry, General. So, we saw your taillights on Bluff Road. Don't worry.
Yeah. Governor, did you stay all the way to the end, Governor?
I had a 61-year-old that had to go home and get to bed at halftime. I was flying out to Washington early the next morning, about 7:30. So I had planned on leaving early regardless. But look, Clemson is really good. I mean, Clemson played a terrific game, but it just shows that how far we have to go in improving our overall talent.
Yep. Still got some work to do. Still a good year for South Carolina. Can't take anything away from them from that standpoint, but disappointing for the fans, the Gamecock fans, who wanted to see a more competitive game. All right, let's get to the schedule for this weekend. We begin with a game tonight, the Pac-12 Championship. Southern Cal is a 4-point favorite against Stanford. So, General, we'll start with you since you're trailing. Southern Cal laying 4 against Stanford. What do you think?
I'm going to go with Southern Cal. I think they can hurdle 4 points, and so I'm going to go with Southern California here.
Governor?
I'm going to take Stanford. I think Cal beat them earlier in the year, and Stanford generally does pretty well when they get a second bite of the apple.
Good call, Gov. Good call.
You want Stanford, huh? Okay. Oklahoma, TCU, Big 12 Championship. TCU getting 6. And Governor Hodges, what do you think there? Horned Frogs or Sooners?
I think that I'm going to take the Sooners.
Laying the 6.
Yep.
Okay. General.
Sooners.
Okay, you got them. Sooners than later. Let's go to
that was so bad.
Ohio State and Wisconsin, the Big Ten Championship. Now this will, we're getting to that point now. An upset here, Ohio State. Well, it wouldn't be an upset because Ohio State's a 6.5-point favorite. It'd be an upset in terms of the rankings. This could start to cause some real issues for the committee. Wisconsin getting 6.5 over against Ohio State. And let's see. This will be General Wilson. You shall pick first.
I haven't looked at the rankings, but if Wisconsin wins this, they got a shot at the playoffs, right?
Yeah, they'll be in the playoffs should they win. Undefeated. Yeah, they'll be in the playoffs.
Yeah. So, listen, I think they're motivated. I don't know if they'll win, but if they can keep it within a touchdown, I think they're that motivated. So I'm going to go with Wisconsin, keeping it close. Don't know if they'll win, but I think they'll keep it close. So Wisconsin.
You got it. 6.5. Governor?
I think the general's right on that. Plus, didn't Barrett have surgery over the weekend? A little bit banged up. It's just hard to imagine they won't keep it under 7. So I'll take Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm. Anybody thinking like me that Wisconsin wins straight up?
No.
I thought about it and then unthought about it.
Yeah.
I told you, Urban Meyer doesn't win the big game, but he always wins the game before the big game.
Yeah. I like Wisconsin's combination of running back and quarterback, and they seem to have a lot going their way. We shall see. I think I like them straight up. I'm not so keen on Ohio State. Okay. SEC Championship in Atlanta. It's Georgia getting 2.5 against Auburn. Place is going to be rocking tomorrow, no doubt about it. Governor Hodges, what do you think?
Bulldogs. I think Georgia is going to have a little payback here, and Auburn has struggled a little bit when they've been away from Auburn Stadium, so I will take the Dogs.
You got the Dogs. Go ahead. I'll give you my thoughts in a moment. Go ahead, General.
I think the Dogs are going to get bit this week. I'm going to go with Auburn.
Auburn.
This feels like it did a couple years ago, and they had that almost magical season with the bobble and the catch for the touchdown and the kick six. It just feels like Auburn, the way they played Alabama was just really impressive, and so I'm going to go with Auburn.
All right. I'm just concerned about the running back situation in Auburn. I mean, Johnson's got bad shoulders, don't know how much he'll be able to play. They're getting a little thin back there at running back, and Georgia's pretty healthy, I think. So, and you know what? Hard to beat a team twice in the same year. Really good team. Hard to beat them twice. That psychological advantage thing you have to kind of take into play. Okay, Clemson and Miami for the ACC Championship in Charlotte. Tigers are laying 9.5 for a chance to get back to the playoff for a third straight year and defend their national championship. General Wilson, what do you think?
I'm going to go with Clemson. Like I said, I agree with what the governor said. They're just really clicking on all cylinders. They really took us to the shed last week. Of course, we didn't give them a lot of talent, but I really feel like Clemson's going to probably make it to the playoffs and then be playing for the national championship again. So I'm going with Clemson for this one.
Hard to believe that Clemson is back in this position once again after losing so much from last year. Governor Hodges, I know it pains you. It really does pain you to always have to pick Clemson and say nice things about Clemson. So what are you saying tonight?
I'm saying that Clemson is going to beat them by more than 9.5 points. Clemson, it's like a home game for Clemson, and Clemson's playing really well, and Miami just looked awful against Pitt. You combine all these things, and you put Mark Richt in there as coach, and they'll beat them by at least 10.
Wait a minute. Was that a shot at Mark Richt?
Absolutely. He loses a big game.
Interesting.
Well, the word out of the press conference today was there's going to be about 25,000 Miami fans coming up for this one. So they seem to be pretty excited about this showdown.
Coming up from Columbia, South Carolina, Corn? Is that where they're coming from?
I guess they're coming from down South Florida.
Coming out of the woodwork.
They're selling hurricane gear at Todd Moore or something like that? Is what's happening?
I don't know. That's what they're saying. That's what they were. One of the reporters asked Mark Richt today about the fact that 25,000 are expected.
I didn't know that there were 25,000 Miami football fans.
Well, when they're winning, there are. When they're winning, there are. Okay, guys, we thank you very much. I guess you want to stick with your picks. Good luck. We'll talk to you soon. Be back with you during the bowl season. We really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Jim Hodges, Attorney General Alan Wilson. Back in a moment.
Time to put your money where your mouth is. Put them in field, let them fight it out. He's a hustler. If you don't got gas, you won't be getting no sticks. And if you don't got money, you won't scoop for honey. If you don't got cash, you won't be getting no. He's a gambler. Bet the house on the young and then we got change.
Show them the next item up a bit.
Okay, we've heard from the amateurs. It's time to get some professional help here on Sports Talk. By the way, let me update the 1A championship game. Make that the 2A championship game. Abbeville and Bamberg Earhart are 7-7 in the third quarter.
Nice to see we got some
Abbeville,
points.
Yeah, Abbeville just recovered a fumble. They might have scored. I can't see the field from where I'm sitting, but I can see the Abbeville radio crew, and they're jumping up and down. So something good just happened for Abbeville. I think they might have scored again. They recovered a fumble. And we got a big crowd for this 2A game tonight over here at Benedict. A lot of excitement out there. Good football game going on. Now, let's welcome in Lee Sterling for our Sterling picks tonight. Lee, of course, from ParamountSports.com. Before we get into all that, we want you to give us the preview of Miami. What will Clemson see tomorrow from the Hurricanes?
The 2001 team coming back to take you on.
You wish. You can only wish.
I'm hopeful. I might be religious come about 8:15 on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I think Miami is going to be aggressive in this game. I think you're going to see them play this game offensively, and the play calling might mirror some of the things that they did against Notre Dame and Virginia Tech. They have to be aggressive. They just can't run the ball right into the teeth of Clemson. So they might have some success for a while. But what happens if you played the game and studied the game, great defenses like Clemson, once they've seen your best 20 plays and maybe a few trick plays, they say, okay, that's all you got. Now we're going to shut you down. So I think it's going to be tight for a while, but I think the mismatch is probably that Clemson defensive line with 3 first-team All-ACC players against a Miami line that, to be quite frankly, is just average at best. So those 40 sacks, that number might get bloated by the end of the game. I think it's going to be tight for a half or 3 quarters, and then Clemson pulls away and wins 31-13.
31-13. You see the Tigers covering easily.
That's a measured approach. Measured approach from
You know, it might be like 17-13 after 3. I just think Miami's going to wear down. Losing Herndon, I mean, it's going to be a 3rd or 4th rounder in the draft, and then losing Richards, the potential first rounder who's never been healthy this year, really hurts Miami.
Hey, tell everybody what you got for them this weekend, then we'll hit the rest of your games.
Yeah. Well, my NFL game of the year goes this Sunday. Found the right game, right situation, right line, even the weather. Everything is falling into place. If they want to get that game, normally you have to be a monthly or season subscriber. And if you want to get a week, normally it's $197. I'm going to sell you tonight's pick on the Pac-12 championship. You can get all of tomorrow's championship games. We'll have 5 or 6 games at least on Saturday. The entire NFL card, including this NFL 45-unit game and also Monday's game. Use coupon code SAVE100, just $97. And if we win this game on Sunday, we will move to 33-11 on these 40 to 50-unit plays of the last 9 seasons. So it's all available. ParamountSports.com, coupon code SAVE100.
Sounds good. So you've got Clemson covering easily. Yep. What about Auburn laying 2 against Georgia?
Here's the problem for Georgia. I just don't think that you can reinvent yourself on offense this late in the year. And Fromm's done a nice job. But against Auburn, you have to be able to throw the ball some and maybe throw for 225, 250 yards to beat him. And I don't think he's the guy. If I'm the head coach, and I'm not, but I think Kirby's smart. If he wants to play to win this game, he maybe inserts Jacob Eason in the first quarter for a series and sees if he's successful. If he's able to move the team down and throw the ball on Auburn, you keep him in. So probably won't, because he's not the guy he recruited, and he doesn't want to, tip over the apple cart. So I think Georgia's going to be up against it. And also the SEC rep has not won this game since 2008 when the Gators beat Alabama. Not going to happen again on Saturday. Auburn 26-17.
Ooh.
Yep.
What about Auburn's running backs and their injuries and their depth there? Is that a problem?
Yeah, well, he's a game-time decision. I mean, probably not going to put this game out for my clients, but we don't shy away from games. No one wants to hear about FIU UMass.
True that. How about Central Florida, Memphis? Central Florida favored by 7. I think I saw the over-under at like 81.
Yeah, it moved up to 83.5 now. So
holy cow.
It's going to be a shootout here. And Central Florida, the number 1 offense in the country. Memphis, number 2. In fact, Memphis over the last 5 games has averaged over 54 points per game. The difference here, probably home field for Central Florida. Also, their defense is plus 18 in turnover ratio, and included in their 3 interceptions in the first game of Ferguson, 19 interceptions for the year. They play enough defense, I think, to win this game here and stay undefeated and move on to a New Year's Day Bowl. I like Central Florida, 48-34.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
And you think Frost is about to move on to Nebraska here pretty soon?
Yeah, well, here's the only caveat to that happening. He might listen to Oregon. I have a feeling that Willie Taggart's moving on to Florida State. So that happens, could be interesting. Another name, I think the best fit for Oregon might be Lane Kiffin. Love to see him there. He'd be fun.
How about that?
The only thing is,
you're...
would he coach the team more than he'd spend time with the cheerleaders?
Easy.
Oh boy.
Easy.
Yeah.
Careful with that. Game of the week, New Orleans. New Orleans is a 4-point favorite over the Panthers.
What a game this should be here. So much on the line for both teams. They want to get anyone like to get that New Orleans-Carolina game, just call 800-400-9741. The game is free. New Orleans and Carolina, 800-400-9741. If you'd like to get NFL Game of the Year included with a weekend package, just use coupon code SAVE100 at ParamountSports.com. And if anyone's tailgating for the game, love to come by and say hi. Just hit me up on Twitter at Paramount Sports.
Oh, well, Will's going to be there.
Yeah, I'll
Maybe
be there.
you can get together and share a cold beverage.
Sounds good. Text me Will's number, and we'll get together before the game. You going to the game day, Will?
I won't be there for the college game day, but I will be there for the game itself.
All right.
Thank you,
Sounds
sir.
good,
Have a
guys.
good time.
See you
Good
later.
luck to you.
See you then, Will.
And of course, Cohen, for that Panthers game, defensive end Charles Johnson has been suspended for 4 games for PEDs.
I love how Corn just volunteers me for all of these rendezvous. You know, tailgate with the governor, tailgate with Lee Sterling. It's fun.
Well, I think it's important that you get out and meet some of the important people in our world.
Is that
I've already met them. I mean, look, I can't entertain them any further. I can't share any more knowledge with them.
Further,
that
would imply you've entertained them before.
I can't loan him any more money. I mean, the governor owes me so much as it is. You know, I help fund his campaign and all that kind of stuff. What more can I give him?
Did he help fund your gambling habit?
That's a personal matter. Personal. Speaking of, gotta take a little closer look at this Stanford Southern Cal. Let's talk about our picks. By the way, we'll get to recruiting here in a little bit. Let's see here. And Will, you sent me your picks, did you not?
I did. They're in your email right now.
Yeah.
We don't have enough time to go over everything, unfortunately. I'll just tell you.
Jump in here. As I go through it here, let's see. Southern Cal, Stanford. Looks like most of us are taking Southern Cal.
I like the farm, baby. Let's go farm.
Okay. All of us are taking Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Who'd you take?
I took Oklahoma.
Yeah. We're pretty split on Wisconsin and Ohio State. Same thing with Georgia, Auburn. And most of us are taking Clemson.
Yes.
As far as the standings go, look at here. We have a dead heat, the Big Kahuna, and yours truly. I'm coming off a 4-1 week, 37-28. It's a 2-dog fight. Right now, you would be alone in second there, Willie P, at 34-31.
And I would just like to point out I'm the only one among the three of us who had Clemson in the points. So I'd like a little bit of acknowledgement there. Just saying.
I think not. Pro, he stands in fourth, 33-32.
Round 2 of Sports Talk up next with your hosts Phil Kornblut, Will Pelagic, and the Professor Tom Hayes. Don't leave us hanging. Join the show, 800-956-7266.
Welcome back into Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Weekend of Champions Friday night. We're at Benedict College, heading into the big weekend of high school football championship games here in South Carolina, plus the college football championship games. We're going to hear from Dabo Sweeney and Mark Richt coming up. Don't forget, also tomorrow, Furman at Wofford in the FCS playoffs, round 2. And Coastal Carolina wraps up its season at home against Georgia Southern in a regular season game. We have got the first final of the Weekend of Champions in Abbeville. Has defeated Bamberg Earhart 14-7. Third straight state champion for the Panthers, their 9th overall. David Shelton was on the scene.
Well, so were you, technically.
Yeah, but you were watching.
I mean, I was watching 10 feet away. Bamberg actually took a 7-0 lead in this game early in the fourth quarter, 79-yard punt return, and you kind of knew that one big play was going to start things going, and that's exactly what happened. Abbeville took their next possession, went down, scored, tied it, and then on the ensuing kickoff, Bamberg fumbled, actually on the second play, and Abbeville recovered, good field position, took it in, scored, but the key. We knew this was going to be a defensive battle, and Bamberg finished with 89 total yards on 33 plays. There was not a passing yard to be found either way.
No passing yards.
No passing yards.
No wonder they played this thing in under 2 hours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There was Abbeville runs that bone.
Yeah.
And Bamberg sort of runs kind of the same look. They tried a few passes, just nobody caught one.
Gotcha.
So It is rare to watch a game nowadays in the days of the spread and where there's not a passing yard.
Don't be looking for either of these quarterbacks running the RPO at the next level.
No, actually, Abbeville's quarterback is going to College Charleston to play baseball.
That's right.
Bryce Jackson.
Yeah.
But Abbeville ended up with 201 total yards, had 116 in the fourth quarter. They only had 85 yards through 3 quarters. So Bamberg's defense was up to the billing. Abbeville just put it together late and scored twice, and it was a very good game. In a game like this, special teams and turnovers.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it was. Bamberg got their score on special team, and then a turnover that Abbeville was able to take advantage of and take the lead. And Bamberg got the ball across midfield there at the end, but couldn't. I think an interception ended the game.
Abbeville, every year when we talk about it in the preseason, who could be, depending on what division they're in, 1A, 2A, we always think Abbeville, very first, top of the list as a team that can win a state championship.
Absolutely. I mean, they're one of those small number of teams around the state that you just sort of – the season starts and you probably will be okay.
Yeah.
Technically, lately – a team like Dutch Fork, a team like South Point, a team like Lamar that's going to play in the Class A game. I mean, those teams are traditionally going to be contenders, get all the way to this point or at least to last week. So, yeah, I mean, Abbeville, you'll talk to Jamie Nichols and he'll say, we lose all these seniors. Guess what? You're going to be preseason number 1 because you've lost one time in 2 years.
Yeah. Good feeder program?
Yeah. Well, I mean, any one of those – one school, one town type deals like Hartsville, like Gaffney, like where there's not a lot of schools. Yeah. It's just all the kids grow up. I want to be an Abbeville Panther. So those high school coaches can get with those kids young, help with the rec leagues and all that. That's why a lot of those same programs that we just mentioned are good in all sports. Mm-hmm. Good in baseball. Abbeville, really good in baseball. Hartsville, really good in baseball because those coaches can be hands-on with those kids from the time they're 6 years old. And that's all those kids want to be. I want to be a Panther.
Them.
Yeah,
and just groom them.
That's it. And Abbeville's going to be good. Abbeville's been good forever. I mean, that's 9 state titles.
Yeah.
But I mean, I remember doing this, 25, almost 30 years ago, and Dennis Botts was putting teams, winning 10, 11, 12 games every year. And now Jamie has just taken that over, Jamie Nichols, and has really done a great job. And they're so humble. I mean, you talk to them on Monday, and they're like, well, we're just so happy to be here. We're so fortunate. And he's like, well, Coach, y'all know what you're doing there. Well, we get lucky. They just don't. You just don't get that that air of, yeah, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
But that's probably why they win, because they don't let their kids think they're pretty good either.
Good year for Bamberg Earhart.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, they came in allowing about 6 points a game. Unfortunately, they've been to this point a couple times now under Butch Crosby, and they've come up short for whatever reason. But there wasn't a hair's difference between these two teams tonight. I mean, it was as close as the score indicates.
The turnover made the difference.
Absolutely.
Turnover made the difference.
It looked like after the punt return, when Bamberg had that big play in the kicking game, it was like, boy, now their defense is going to really settle them. But credit Abbeville. They went right down the field, converted a couple third downs, scored a touchdown, got it tied. I mean, if any point during that drive they end up having to punt or they lose it on downs, they may not get the ball back.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you got to hand it to them. I mean, they went up against the state's best defense, and when the game on the line, they were able to move it down and score.
All right, thank you, sir. Abbeville, a winner in the AA championship game, 14-7, and that clears the way for the 1A championship game coming up. I promise you, there'll be some passes thrown and completed in this one, at least on one side. Baptist Hill against Lamar. Was looking forward to seeing that quarterback from Baptist Hill.
Yeah, I got to see him play during the regular season, and he's really a good player. If he were 6'2", everybody in the country would be recruiting this kid.
Yeah.
The kid just, he's kind of like Chapman's quarterback, Colton Bailey, just not big enough, but man, can sling it around and make plays, confident, team leader. But, people are going to get a joy to watch him play. I hope he plays well. I don't really care who wins the game, but I hope for him that he has a good game so people can really see how good he is.
Yeah, Will was hoping that Bishop England would make it to the Bishops, because that's the team that he's adopted.
Yeah, well, he actually he switched to Whitmire when Bishop England started.
Well, but see, then Whitmire kind of rebuffed him after they lost.
I can understand that.
Jumped on.
I can understand
kind
that.
of kicked him to
I've been rebuffed.
Kicked him to the curb.
I've been to the rebuff zone.
Thank you very much, sir.
Man.
All right, we appreciate that. So one championship game is behind us with Abbeville taking down Bamberg Earhart in a very good game tonight. Guys, the USC women soccer team lost to Stanford just a little while ago. Did y'all know that?
Yeah, we did. We were following that game here. While you were
2-0.
2-0.
2-0, or I'm sorry, 2-0, whatever.
Nil. That's the way that works.
Yeah. Nothing. Maybe nil to you is nothing to me.
But a great season
17 shots for the Trees to 5 for the USC women. That's pretty one-sided, isn't it? In soccer terms, that's pretty one-sided.
Stanford's a perennial power. They've been there before. This is obviously South Carolina trying to get themselves beyond where they've ever been before. And, it's Shelley Smith's program is it will foster on as a result of this. It's a good program. And the fact that they've gotten to this level now, that they've proven that they can do that, it's a good thing moving forward for them.
They finished 19-3-1. Stanford is 23, and probably they're in Orlando, and it may be an all Pac-12 final because UCLA takes on a tough Duke team. But South Carolina, they played a defensive type of soccer, and you knew Stanford was going to be offensively aggressive to get get a goal or two, and that's what put it away for them.
They like to play the line, as it were. Corn doesn't even know what the hell that is.
No. They did have 5 corner shots. I bet you didn't know that. Yes, sir. 5 corner shots for Stanford. That's pretty good.
It's a corner kick, Corn. That's a
corner shot. Shot from the corner.
Corner kick is the way we call it. For those of us who actually follow the beautiful game.
They had the 7 SOGs, also known as saves on goal. Right?
That's a shot. That's
save on goal.
That's a shot on goal, Chief.
Shot on goal. Oh, I'm sorry. Not a save.
Somebody take that shovel away before he dig that hole too deep.
Say, you've never sounded. There have been times where you've sounded unintelligent on this program. This is about as unintelligent as you've ever sounded on any particular subject I've ever heard.
I try to take the show to a different level every night.
Also,
that's what we try to do.
Also, I guess we should say we were waiting to see if Tiger's back would stand up to a second day, and apparently it has. Will 69, and then followed up with a 68.
Didn't have
5 shots back.
Didn't have a good back 9 though. There were a couple bogeys.
That's just good to see him out there and see him being competitive. That's probably a little more than anybody could expect that he would be. What's he tied for the lead?
No,
5th.
5 strokes back.
Yeah,
5 shots back. Okay. All right, we'll be right back. Recruiting and Dabo Sweeney coming up.
This is the place to talk Tigers, Gamecocks, and more. Sports talk across the state on the South Carolina Radio Network.
Okay, if you're just joining us, first game of the night, the AA championship game. It goes to Abbeville 14-7 over Bamberg Earhart. Congratulations to both teams. Of course, it's tough when you lose in a state championship game, but a great year for the Red Raiders at 12-3. Abbeville finishes at 14-1. A reminder that the Touchstone Energy North-South game is coming up a week from tomorrow in Myrtle Beach. More than 80 of South Carolina's finest high school football players will meet at the beach. Always exciting. Touchstone Energy Cooperative's Bowl at Doug Shaw Memorial Stadium. Tickets are on sale right now for $20. You can buy them at the gate, of course, but online at touchstoneenergybowl.com. The gates are not open yet, okay? They won't open until like 10 o'clock a week from Saturday, so don't go out there tonight. But you can go online and order at touchstoneenergybowl.com. Look forward to seeing you down there at the beach next week. Always a fun time. Hopefully the weather will be cooperative as well. Dabo Sweeney coming up in just a moment here on Sports Talk. Let's give you the recruiting report for tonight. Had a chance to talk with the Carry-On Joyner of Fort Dorchester last night. He was back in Columbia for the Palmetto Awards, and he was the winner of the Back of the Year. He was also in Columbia last weekend for his official visit. And even though he watched the Gamecocks get beat up by Clemson, he's not discouraged by what he saw. He's excited about what's ahead for the program, and especially when he gets in there, he's looking forward to competing and doing what he can and giving them everything he's got. He also met with Kurt Roper earlier this week, and as far as the talk about Roper being replaced as the quarterback's coach and offensive coordinator, he said, look, I was with him all weekend. He came to my house. He said, if he decides to leave, I'll be shocked. But he said, it is what it is. He's still committed to the university, he said, not to any coach. So he didn't get a chance to talk with Jake Bentley while he was on his visit because it was a game day. But they have a good relationship, and he's looking forward to going in and learning under Bentley and then competing with him in the spring. USC offensive line coach Eric Wolford yesterday was in the home of one of his targets, offensive lineman Dylan Wanham of Atlanta, the brother of USC defensive end DJ Wanham. He said USC high on his list, though last Saturday he went to Auburn unofficially. Earlier in the week, Wolford was in Western Tennessee to meet with Jerome Carvin, another offensive lineman. He's taken officials to Tennessee, Mississippi State, Memphis, UCLA, and Auburn, so there's no more room left for an official visit to USC, but Wolford's trying to get him to come in on an unofficial visit. And he said that Wolford has told him they've got 5 offensive linemen committed right now. He's looking for 6. He's going to take the next one to commit. And they like Carvin still. Maybe a long shot to get him since there's no official visit involved. He did say it's about a 50-50 chance he'll come in for an unofficial visit. Florida, Memphis, Mississippi State, and Tennessee have also been in to see him this week. Offensive lineman Cade Mays of Knoxville released the top 3 of Clemson, Georgia, and Ohio State. He has taken officials to Clemson and Ohio State, and he is scheduled for Georgia on December 15th. By the way, he played in the state championship game last night, and he was wearing Clemson-type gloves, the one with the tiger paws on there. So I don't know if that means anything or not, just something to ponder. Defensive end K.J. Henry of Clemens, North Carolina, had a visit today from USC recruiter Mike Peterson. Yesterday, Virginia Tech was in to see him. Those are 2 of the schools left on his list with Clemson, Auburn, and Georgia. The others, he still has an official to take to Alabama. Did I say Auburn? Clemson, USC, Alabama, Georgia, and Virginia Tech are his schools, and it's still an official visit to take to Alabama. Georgia expected in the home to visit last night with Spring Valley linebacker Channing Tindall. This according to 24/7 Sports. He informed the network of the planned visit. He also told 24/7 Sports that Auburn will be coming in Sunday. Coaches from Arizona State and Colorado State We're in on Thursday to see USC target defensive end Dorian Gerald of the College of the Canyons Junior College in California. Clemson target defensive back Tyreek Johnson of Jacksonville has dropped UCLA, leaving Clemson and Ohio State on his list. According to reports, USC target offensive lineman Javon Gwynn of Charlotte will take an official to NC State this weekend. And I think that's it. Ben Lippen linebacker Kyle Wright was offered by North Carolina. I got to correct something that I said last night. I know that shocks you that I made a mistake, but I always like to correct.
Or that anybody would remember that you made a mistake, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, look, it just bothers me. It just bothers me when that happens. So just to clear the air and to go back on the record and get it correct, we're talking about USC Bowls last night, and I said USC in the Citrus Bowl. That was incorrect. The Citrus Bowl, it looks like, according to report out of New Orleans, is going to take LSU.
Yes.
And that leaves USC in a position for Jacksonville or for Tampa as things play out for the SEC.
Smart money, according to someone I talked to, would be that Tampa would step up and take the Gamecocks, possibly a rematch in a bowl game with Michigan.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. That's fine. Listen, Tampa's a wonderful place. One thing I remember about Tampa on New Year's Day, long green blades of grass on New Year's Day. I mean, 75, 80 degrees.
Not the biggest Tampa fan. I would have
What's your problem with Tampa?
I would happen to prefer Jacksonville to Tampa. I prefer the
weather. The problem with Jacksonville is that's just nothing. Jacksonville's nothing more than South Georgia across the border. I mean, there's not much difference between Jacksonville and being out in rural South Georgia.
I like the
plus the weather's a little bit.
I prefer the Atlantic Ocean to the Gulf of Mexico. Call me a coastie. Just saying.
Well, just turn around and think it's the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, I mean, how can you tell the difference? If somebody hit you in the head and dropped you off on the beach, how could you tell the difference?
Because I've seen beach and I've seen Gulf. I've lived in a Gulf city for the last 3 years. There's a difference between the beach in the Gulf and the beach on the ocean.
Well, you can see the oil wells from the Gulf. Okay, that would be one giveaway.
Yeah.
Other than that, the sand's the same, right? Sand is sand, water is water, wind is wind.
It's the reason I prefer my little neck clams to the Gulf oysters. There's a lot less BP involved in those.
Yeah, you know what you are. You're just one of those northern, look down your nose at people kind of.
That's why I like the state. I like the state of South Carolina. South Carolina's on the Atlantic Ocean coast. I'm trying to say that we in South Carolina aspire to better than being on the Gulf. I'm trying to stand up for the coastline and the intercoastal waterway. That's what I do.
I love the Atlantic. I much prefer the Atlantic over the Pacific.
Oh, of course.
Personally, yeah,
too many hipsters across the Pacific.
Yeah, and all their beaches got rocks.
Yeah,
all in them and
you
cold.
You can't swim in the Pacific beaches. You have to surf, or else you're basically there's no reason to go in the water there.
Of course, now the Atlantic beaches, you got sharks and whales and stuff like that.
Flesh wound. It's a flesh wound.
Right. All right, coming up, we're going to hear from Dabo Sweeney and Mark Richt. Each went for about a half hour today in Charlotte at the Panther Stadium, previewing the game. But, what happens at this stage of the week, everything has pretty much been said. The coaches give their opening comments, and they get pulled in different directions to talk about this and that, not necessarily related to the game. But we got some good stuff from the two of them as they look ahead. These are two coaches that really respect one another, really like one another. Look, Dabo recruited Rick's son to come to Clemson to play quarterback. He stayed 1 year before going on to Mars Hill. Obviously, he wasn't of the caliber to play at Clemson. But he's now an assistant coach at Miami. He's now the quarterback's coach at Miami. So a little bit of a reunion there.
Yeah, like you said, Corn, by this time of the week, all the talking has been said. It's hard to have gone this long without hearing them repeat themselves. I think we've had 4 separate media availabilities with Dabo Sweeney, not including the teleconference on Sunday, too. So there's I think we're at the point right now where we just want to hear him play some ball.
Well, what I enjoy is the fact that these two have not played this year. One of only a few championship games where it's not a rematch,
which almost makes the championship game in my mind somewhat of a waste. But whatever.
Yeah, it's
No
also
doubt a
kind of
point.
neat too that they don't play very often too. They're
True.
kind of strangers to that degree. All right, we'll be right back. Okay, we're back at Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Major traffic jam outside of Benedict Stadium. People trying to get out from the 2A game, people trying to get in for the 1A game. The 1A game set to kick off at 8 o'clock tonight. Baptist Hill and Lamar. Should be a good one. Abbeville has won the AA championship 14-7.
How was your traffic getting in and out of Charlotte today? I know that's
Brutal.
the big taboo of yours. You hate that.
Yeah, it was brutal getting out. Not too bad getting in because I was in early, but getting out 2:30, 2:45, it was already backed up, and it was bumper to bumper to Rock Hill. But then it was clear sailing from Rock Hill back to Columbia. Thank you for asking, by the way.
I know it's one of your least favorite things to do about Charlotte.
I kind of like it in
is.
the traffic because I floor it. I go around people. I play video games.
Where should I eat tomorrow? That's my question. Do you have a
Oh,
Charlotte?
I'd hit the press box. I'd do the press box thing.
Come on. I don't want press box food. I eat press box food.
What time are you going up?
I was going to go up early in the afternoon, pick up my credential at the hotel, just because I don't want to have to do it at the stadium. But
do you eat barbecue?
Well, I mean, listen, there's plenty of places all around downtown Charlotte you can.
I was hoping you had like a card, like ready to go. Like this is the place I go to eat in Charlotte.
Let me suggest that you contact one Mick Mixon if you're looking for leads in Charlotte.
All right.
Go off Top Bowler Road and just do this. You'll smell barbecue go to the first one you smell.
You got it.
All right, let's get to the coaches. A little bit from Dabo and from Mark Richt. Their final words heading into tomorrow night's ACC championship game with the kickoff, a little bit after 8 o'clock at Bank of America Stadium. Tigers are a 9.5-point favorite. They're going for their third straight ACC championship. Here's Dabo Sweeney as he lays it out for us from earlier today.
These are two experienced teams. I know this is the ACC championship, and they haven't necessarily played in this game, but this game is no different than the other games. Every game's big in college football. I mean, when they played Florida State, that's a pretty big stage. When they played Notre Dame, that's a pretty big stage. So trust me, their team has big game experience, and they have come up, and they've been on the road and made huge plays. To win big games, Georgia Tech, Florida State. So they'll draw on that. That's what really matters. And it's the same thing for us. We've had great experience this year in big games. You know, it's not like we can say, okay, we've got ACC championship experience. Well, a lot of those guys with that experience aren't here anymore. We've got some guys, and I think they understand that. But the same things that will win all those other games, it takes that to win this game. And so that's what we focus on. We don't really get caught up in the magnitude of the moment or make one game bigger than the other. We just get ready to try to go play well, get a good plan. We know that every single week we're going to get every team's best effort. And now certainly you're playing another great football team that wants the same thing you want.
To be back here in Charlotte after a one-year hiatus, how important is that for the ACC, and how much of a benefit is that to Clemson as well?
Well, I think it's great. You know, I mean, we really enjoyed our experience in Orlando. That was a crazy situation, as we all know, and I thought the city of Orlando did a great job on kind of a short-term notice, if you will, and so did our ACC folks in trying to pull all that together and make it a great game. And it was great. But there's something special about being here. You know, the city, the opportunity to play in this stadium, the location of it. You know, the people of Charlotte just do an unbelievable job. There's a great partnership between Charlotte and the ACC, and there has been for a long time. So I think it's just very smooth. Our fans love it, and I'm sure we'll have a great crowd there. And, you know, look forward to enjoying the moment.
Malik has two less weapons on offense for this game. Herndon and Richards are out. Is that an advantage for your defense, or do the Canes have other weapons that can exploit your defense?
Yeah. Oh no, they got plenty of weapons. You know, it's kind of like us in the, you know, I mean, we got Trey Lamar's out, Mark Fields is out, but we've had other people step up, and we've had different things like that all year long. And I think, you know, that's the key to being good, is you got to have other players. And when you look at their roster and you see 18, he's 6'4", 220 something pounds. You see 81, 80, 3 and 4 can fly. You know, I think they just, other guys get more opportunities. 8 leads them. You know, he's the guy and has been all year. He's been their best playmaker. Richards was and 23. Those are two great players, no doubt about it. But they'll have guys ready to go, and it's unfortunate. You know, I hate it for those two young men, really, to be honest with you, because they've worked really hard and they were a big part of their success. but it's just kind of part of it.
Dabo not being transparent at all about why he loves the game in Charlotte, Corn, because it's in his damn backyard.
Well, Clemson fans would go anywhere.
Yeah,
They go
I know.
anywhere. It doesn't matter if it's
But
Orlando,
it's easier.
Charlotte.
Still easier.
Losing those two receivers, the tight end Herndon, the receiver Richards, between them, you're talking about 64 catches for over 900 yards and 7 touchdowns. So they lose a lot of offense. Look for Braxton Berrios to be more emphasized in the passing game. He's their leading receiver at 45 catches. He's a kid from North Carolina that Clemson recruited and South Carolina recruited.
Something that Lee Sterling mentioned earlier, the thing about Amon Richards is that he is obviously somebody who would have a much bigger output if he had been healthy all this year. So just the fact that he had the numbers he had in such limited action just tells you the kind of player that he is. And, it's an unfortunate thing for them that they're not at full strength, but Clemson can even argue that they're not necessarily at full strength on defense either with no Trey Lamar and no Mark Fields.
This is a football game where Clemson can win in the first quarter if they get a 2-score lead. You cannot let Miami make a big play or 2 big plays on special teams, and you want them to keep that turnover chain in the box for the balance of the game.
I tell you who'll be important for Clemson, and he was actually an unsung hero the early part of the game last week in Columbia. The game, of course, it got away from a USC standpoint, and this was overlooked. But Will Spires, his early punting against USC, pinning the Gamecocks back, was crucial in flipping the field. Well, in dealing with Miami, Berrios averages over 16 yards a punt return. He's their primary punt returner, and you got to be careful in kicking to him. You got to keep it high. You got to keep it away if you have to punt, obviously. But you can't give him a chance at a return, or you're talking about he hasn't scored a touchdown on a return this year, but he can certainly set up Miami's offense in excellent field position with a big return.
Certainly so. It's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. The special teams, it's something that for Clemson was something that I think going into the year we probably thought of as a concern, but it's been a real position of strength for them, not just with the kicking game, but also with Ray McLeod in the return game.
I will hear from Mark Richt coming up after the break. Also, a few comments from USC basketball players Hassani Gravett and Frank Booker. Will, you were over there with the Gamecocks as they met with the media today. What was weird was I got in my car last night, turned on XM to bring in the broadcast, and whoever was running XM for that channel had the score reversed. They had USC leading by 13 when I tuned in. And before I heard the score, the actual score, I thought to myself, wow, they're playing some really good basketball.
Yeah.
And then they gave the score. I went, huh?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing. It was rough, man.
What I saw in that game last night was not only the superior guard play, but this was a Temple team with a mad on because they've won down in Charleston, and then they go up and drop a Big 5 matchup against LaSalle, and they got ticked.
The problem with South Carolina is when they could not get the ball down low, they settled for very, very poor shots. They shot just 36% in the game, and from that standpoint, South Carolina, they say that they're one of the best shooting teams that they've had under Frank Martin, but you have to take good shots in order to make them. I know it's simplistic.
Well, listening to Frank's comments after the game, too, I mean, he was really disappointed in Silva. He thought it was Silva's worst performance since his freshman year at South Carolina when he was still young and trying to get a feel for things. He just didn't have it last night, coming off that big game the previous time out.
He looked as bad as Elijah Thomas of Clemson looked against the same Temple team in the Charleston Classic finale.
Well, maybe Temple just makes you look bad.
They do.
We'll be back. We'll hear from them as well as from Mark Richt here on Sports Talk.
know what the culture was, to be honest with you. When I got there, I was just more concerned about letting the guys know how we were going to go about our business. And so it wasn't like I was
These guys, they never sleep. Check them out on the web at SportsTalkSC.com. Now, more of Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network.
Just a few minutes away from the kickoff of the 1A state championship game tonight. If you're just joining us in 2A, Abbeville beats Bamberg Earhart 14-7. A reminder, the Touchstone Energy North-South game is a week from Saturday. You can get your tickets in advance by going online to touchstoneenergybowl.com. Tickets are $20 for the game. You can also buy them at the gates. We hope you'll turn out for what should be a great day of football. More than 80 of the state's best players will be on hand. Plus, at halftime, the naming of Mr. Football in South Carolina. So you want to be on hand for that as well. But get those tickets now at touchstoneenergybowl.com. Okay, Mark Richt, second-year coach at Miami, back at his alma mater, and he's got the Hurricanes, if they can get a win, in position to get into the playoffs in year number 2. Today in Charlotte, he talked about how quickly things have advanced for him at his alma mater.
I don't even know what the culture was, to be honest with you. When I got there, I was just more concerned about letting the guys know how we were going to go about our business. And so it wasn't like I went in there and said, hey, we got to change this, we got to change that. I was like, this is how we're going to do things. And, the first thing I had to do was hire really, really good coaches, guys that were confident and guys that were going to do it the way I wanted it done. And that's, coaching them and loving them but doing everything in a first-class manner, And we believe in family. We believe in togetherness and unity. And we just believe in good old-fashioned hard work. And so, I told them one of the first meetings, how many guys want to be champion? They raise their hands. Everybody raised their hands. Well, how many's willing to work and earn the right to be a champion? And they, of course, they all raise their hand, but then that's when things get started. And they say, okay, well, if that's what you want, this is how we're going to do it. And so I think we've been real consistent with them. I think they know we're going to work hard. We're going to trust each other. We're going to go through adversity together. And then good things we felt like could happen, and they've been happening for us.
Looking ahead to this game, do you feel like Clemson has any advantage because they've had so many players that have played in this game the past couple of years?
Yeah, well, first of all, being used to winning at a high level, being used to being a champion, not only an ACC champion, but a national champion, playing in 2 national championship games in a row. I mean, it doesn't get any bigger than that. They've all experienced that. That's experience is a great teacher. We all know that, and we're just experiencing things for the first time as a group of coaches and players. And so, it should be an advantage to have lived through those types of moments.
Coach Brandon O'Doy, football hotbed. Yep. Coach, a lot has been made with the injuries to Herndon, Richards, but guys like Dale and Lawrence Cager and even Langham has been huge at times. How have they responded this week, and what onus have they taken as far as their roles and what they have to do?
You can't sit there and just watch them and go, oh, he's different now. I mean, I think they always work hard. I think they always practice with energy and a purpose, and but I think they know in their heart they're going to get more opportunities.
All right, Mark Richt from Miami. I think everything that can be said about this game has been said. All that's left to do is kick it off and see which team will win. I've got Clemson covering. I'm going with the Tigers on this one. I think it's going to be a pretty good weather night. I don't know. Wait a minute. Some rain supposed to move in. I still think it's going to be okay. It won't be anything disastrous. I still like Clemson winning this thing. I know Miami's defense is pretty good, can create turnovers and things like that, but I like Clemson. I'm going to go with the Tigers 31-17. 31-17, two touchdowns.
The rain
What do you think?
The rain should be gone by the evening. Partly cloudy in the evening.
31-17. Anybody want to touch that?
Not really.
38-10.
I'm just interested in seeing if the game is close in the third quarter. Does Dabo still channel his inner Mike Ayers and don't bring the kick out when it's a makeable field goal?
I think Clemson is a better team than Miami, and I think Miami got exposed last week by Pittsburgh. They've been playing on a paper-thin margin for error basically since the beginning of the season. The two games where they were on national TV when basically everybody in the country saw them, they played up to their competition and they were able to do things good. But I don't think they've seen a team like Clemson this year, and Clemson's played better teams this year and they've done better.
But Clemson has to help them because, as I said before, the turnover change is there for a reason. That's because Miami has been able to turn teams over. Clemson, protect the football, no turnovers. Maybe they can allow one, but if they don't turn the football over, I don't see any way they can lose.
All right, let's get to Gamecock basketball. Will was over with some of the players today as they talked to the media.
A 16-point loss at the hands of Temple. Hassani Gravett and Frank Booker met the media to talk about last night's disappointing result. Spin it forward to start a 3-game homestand tomorrow against UMass.
I think our trainer and weightlifting coach do a good job of keeping our bodies, healthy and ready for that.
I feel like now that we're back, in our own gym, now we have to practice. If we practice well, we usually play well. So we had to let last night go, learn from it, watch film, and keep it moving.
Past two games, guys, you started out okay and then just kind of hit that lull where the other team goes on a big run. What's been the most consistent problem?
Discipline. We haven't been we'll be disciplined for a little while, then we'll lose it. And then we'll try to find it back. But when you play against good teams and you give them runs like that, it's hard to come back from. And Temple was a really good team, so it was tough.
Frank, you said discipline. You mean taking care of the ball on defense? Just what all do you mean there?
Defensively, we have to be disciplined. We have to stick to our strategies. Offensively, not turning the ball over, giving them runouts and easy layups. Those are easy buckets for them. And we pride ourselves on defense, and we just weren't disciplined at all on defense.
How much does a day like you guys kind of had yesterday and said, how much does it, talk more about shot selection and making sure that, while you guys are a good shooting team, you're taking the right shots at the right times?
I think last night we could have taken some better shots, but I feel like we just couldn't really get anything to go into the basket. And the other team, I feel like they were making everything. We got to work the ball in the paint a little bit more as guards and draw fouls and get to the line. I don't think we did a good job of that. We just got to practice to get better.
What have you guys learned about this team through this first couple of weeks of the season that maybe you didn't know going in?
You want to take it?
I'm not gonna lie. Tomorrow we're gonna see what kind of team we are, how we bounce back. We saw it against Illinois State, how we bounced back against UTEP. But now that we lost, and we've been on the road and things like that, how are we gonna fold? Are we gonna have excuses? Are we gonna be tired? Or are we gonna buckle down and actually be ready for the next game and not have any excuses?
Can having a stretch like that test you guys who've been on stretches where you're away from home and sort of have funky schedules? What does that do to a team and kind of how you can develop?
It can really help us or it can hurt us. It can help us in a way where we come together, and we talk about where we messed up at, where we can learn from, or we can sit and we can play the blame game. And us as leaders, me, Sonia, and Chris, and Mike, we have to be the ones to make sure the blame game doesn't happen at all, because that destroys teams. That's a virus. We don't want that. So as of last night, we talked to each other. We made sure everybody was letting last night go and just go from here.
3 games at home between UMass, Wyoming, and Coastal before the game at Clemson. They haven't had a lot of home cooking corn. They've played 6 of their first 7 on the road, or at least away from home.
And, of course, the one bright spot may be Beatty getting aggressive playing against his hometown team.
Cud looked good yesterday as well.
Points.
Yeah.
All right. Earlier today down in Charleston, the Bulldogs lost to Marist 100-91. Woof. So that's 2 losses in a row for the Bulldogs.
You don't just let Marist walk. You don't just let Marist walk into your home building and rout you like that. That's bad.
I would agree. They play UMBC tomorrow. Okay, Will, you enjoy your time up in Charlotte. Everybody follow Will covering the Tigers tomorrow. I'll be at USC basketball, high school football tomorrow as well. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night and a great weekend.